So you've probably heard the term DevOps thrown around a lot, but what does it really mean? What does it actually do? Well, today we're going to break it all down and show you how it solves one of the oldest, most frustrating problems in all of software.
Ah, yes, the classic. The 6 most dreaded words in tech. We've all said it, we've all heard it. You've just built this amazing new feature, it runs like a dream on your local machine, and then you get that ping from the ops team. This one little sentence has probably launched 1,000 late-night emergency calls. And you know what happens next, right? That one phrase kicks off this all-too-familiar, painful cycle. The code that was perfect a minute ago is now completely broken in production. And suddenly it's a mad dash of finger-pointing, last-minute hotfixes, and deployments that just keep failing. It's total chaos, and it brings all progress to a screeching halt. So why does this keep happening? Well, the root of the problem is actually baked into the old traditional way that software teams were set up. They were separated by something called the wall of confusion. And this slide really nails the core conflict. On one side, you've got the developers. Their main goal, build cool new stuff and ship it fast. On the other side, you have the operations team. Their main goal, keep the system stable and make sure nothing breaks. You can see how these two goals are naturally going to clash, right? It creates this constant tension. So with this wall in place, what you get is predictable. Developers finish their code and basically just throw it over the wall to ops. The handoffs are slow and painful, and when something inevitably breaks, nobody's really sure whose fault it is, so the blame game begins. This right here, this is the bottleneck that DevOps was born to eliminate. And that brings us to DevOps itself. Now, the absolute first thing you need to understand is that DevOps is not a job title. It's not a specific tool. It's a cultural movement. It's a philosophy, really, about a better way for people to work together. And it didn't just pop up overnight. It actually grew out of ideas from the agile and lean manufacturing worlds. The movement officially got its name back in 2009 at the very first DevOps Days conference. And later on, books like Accelerate came out and provided the hard data that this new way of working, well, it really works. Okay, so here's the official textbook definition. At its core, DevOps is all about one thing: making the journey from an idea in a developer's head to a feature in a user's hands as short, safe, and reliable as possible. But let's just cut through the jargon. You want to know what DevOps is in plain English? It's this: development and operations tearing down that wall and finally working as one single unified team. I like to think of it like a football team. You see, a football team doesn't have an offense team and a defense team that operate in different buildings and never talk to each other. No way. They're one team, and they win or lose together. It's the exact same idea in a DevOps culture. Everyone shares responsibility for the entire process, from writing the code to testing it, deploying it, and even monitoring it in production. Okay, that's the culture, the big idea. But how does this stuff actually work on a daily basis? Well, let's take a look at how these principles get turned into a real, automated workflow. So, a typical DevOps flow, you'll often hear this called a CI/CD pipeline, looks something like this. A developer commits their code to a shared place, like Git. That single action automatically kicks off a process that builds the code and runs a whole bunch of tests. If all those tests pass, the code is then deployed automatically, and as soon as it's live, monitoring tools start sending feedback right back to the team. Now let's quickly break down those two big acronyms you just saw. First up is CI, which stands for Continuous Integration. All this really means is that developers are constantly merging their code together into one central place. Every single time they do that, an automated system builds and tests everything. The real magic here is that it helps you catch bugs right away, when they're still small and super easy to fix. And Continuous Delivery, or CD, is just the next piece of the puzzle. It takes all that code that just passed the CI stage and automatically gets it ready for release. The goal here is to always have a version of your software that is 100% tested and ready to go out to your users at a moment's notice. So the most important takeaway from all this is that automation is the engine that makes the whole thing go. When you automate everything you possibly can, you get rid of human error. You turn deployments from this big, scary once-a-quarter event into something predictable, routine, and, well, kind of boring. And trust me, when it comes to deployments, boring is a very good thing. All right, let's talk about tools, because this is where a lot of folks get confused. People often think DevOps is just about using a certain set of tools. But please remember this: tools do not make you DevOps. They enable a DevOps culture.
Things like Git for managing code, Docker for creating consistent environments, Kubernetes for scaling, and all these CI/CD platforms, they're the things that make all the automation and collaboration we just talked about actually possible. So after all that, you might be thinking, okay, this sounds like a lot of work. Why should my team bother? What's the actual payoff here? Well, the benefits are massive, and they really do affect everyone. For the business, you're shipping new features way faster, which keeps you competitive. For your users, it means a much more stable, reliable product with way fewer bugs. And maybe most importantly, for your team, it means less time spent putting out fires late at night and more time building awesome things. It just creates happier, less stressed out, and more effective teams.
So to bring this all the way back to where we started, DevOps is the cure. By aligning your people, your processes, and your technology, it directly solves that classic, painful, it works on my computer problem. When everyone is working with the same automated process, that phrase pretty much becomes a thing of the past.
So I'll leave you with a question to mull over. Think about your own team and your own work. What's the biggest point of friction you have? What's your biggest wall of confusion? Is it the handoff from devs to QA or from developers to the ops team? Just think about how some of these ideas could help tear that wall down.